Welcome or welcome back. I've finally finished my no-lifing of Deltarune, so I can actually get back into the swing of things with Lockpick. We have now beaten our first mega puzzle and are now moving into the backside, with another 5 worlds, at least, to go and only stranger mechanics to come up. We are definitely going to have our work cut out for us going forward. These worlds are a notable step up in difficulty from the hub, and with often hard to understand, at least at a first glance, mechanics, so as per usual, but especially so now, I highly recommend you either play the game up to this point, or watch my videos to get a full understanding of everything that has come before. And speaking of, spoiler warning for bulk doors, master keys, blank doors, blast doors, exact keys, auras and door effects, golden doors, brown doors, pure keys and doors, negative keys and doors, sign flip keys, negative brown keys. Fun fact, this is the first time that there's been no new mechanics between videos, excluding the introductory one. So, anyways, I already said what you should do before watching, and you probably know the deal anyway, so let's just get into this. Our new and first truly strange mechanic, bicolored doors. If you want to figure out how they work, well, stop and play the level, because I'm about to say it. The inside color is what you need to open the door, while the outside is what will actually be spent. Hence, at the start, you need 6 white to open the top door, but it spins 6 orange, taking you to -6. Now to leave, we'll need to get past the other bicolored door and get to 0 white. It needs 6 orange to open, so we'll have to blast our -6 and pay 2 white for the 6. If we opened the bicolored door now, we'd go down to -2 white, and the only way to increase white is via the negative bicolored door later, so that will be first as well. I'm just going to spin the other 2 white now, so we'll go down to -4, but it doesn't really matter as you'll be able to get to 0 afterwards regardless. And lastly, we need to get down to 0 orange after the 2, which, while we could just use the blast, that'd mean we can't get down to -4 orange for the door later, because of the 12 keys. So instead, just pick up the -4 we got earlier to go to 0. From there, just blast your 12 and you can leave. Our first bicolored blank doors, how fun. We can only go down to 0 orange via the 4 cyan door, meaning we'll have to go down to 0 purple with only 2, so we can open the 2 cyan to actually leave later. Thus, we start by going bottom route, then take the 2 orange and open the bottom 2 lock cyan and open the bicolored door to spin our purples instead. Then we can go back up top and finish off our orange to leave. So here we'll need to find a count of red keys that, when opened the proper amount of times, adds up to 95 since we already have 2 cyan. Do note that we can only take 1 path since we'll be set to 2 orange once we go down, and it's pretty obvious that, thus, you will need to take the 5 path since 95 is indivisible by 3, and 95 divided by 5 is 19, so grab that many negative reds, do your thing, and leave. So we need 48 whites from our negative cyan. First thought would be going to -16 cyan, but that is an inaccessible number, as is 24, so we'll have to take a little bit of a different route to actually get there. I'm sure there is a mathematical way to solve this that I just don't know the method for, or at least can't see how to translate this into that, but the way I saw it is to make up for either over or underspending at certain parts, so that way you'll still end up at a net total of 48. For example, you can spend 12 on one door for under 16, then 18 on the other 2 to over 16 for a total of 4 over, meaning they cancel each other out. And now that I'm actually recording this audio, I'm kind of realizing this is just modular math again, so I'm sure there's a better explanation out there. And there's at least one other working solution I saw, but regardless, that's how I put this together. If you want a better explanation, probably check the wiki. Our next new mechanic, and much more straightforward than before, star keys. They lock your key count to whatever you're at when you take them, so for this level we'll be stuck at 4 white for the entire level. We'll have to grab the purple star at 0 since we're forced into a 1 purple, which is obviously unspendable, and thus we'll be spending the master on the 5 white. From there you're literally forced down the correct path, as you can immediately see with any wrong move how it'll be wrong immediately, so just follow the route and you'll get out of here in no time. There's a brief tutorial here on the top of the main level, just being that you can't master a door with any gold on it. we'll have to master any cyan we need to cross besides the 8, which we actually have to open as we cannot get down to 0 cyan by any other means. The pink also must be skipped if it's not a 20, and we need to open every 20. So it's basically just finding the cheapest route across, which is quite straightforward in my humble opinion. Should be easy enough to figure out if you don't just watch me do it. New mechanic, unstar keys, which shockingly let you modify your key count again if you take in a star beforehand, but that's the easy part of this level, trust me. We'll need to get to the 2 masters at some point for the 2 gold lock, but the other master key is a lot less clear on what it'll have to be spent on. We know we'll want to get to the 8 cyan to leave, since at least one of them would have to be opened normally to access the purple behind the blank. This means opening the negative bicolored door while unstarred. However, doing that normally would mean you have to spend your star keys, so you don't spend too many cyan, but you need your star key for after the gold door, since you can't be opening the 4 or blast door normally. So, we'd have to skip over the 4 cyan door without taking the star key, which obviously can only be done via the master key. Because we're forced to then open a 1 lock cyan afterwards, we should take the bottom route up top by starring our negative 4 purple to cross, so it'll be set to 5 cyan, then unstarring, opening the negative 4 door to get our master. Then we can grab the other negative 4 purple, star it as well, and grab the remaining masters and lock our cyan at 8. From there it's pretty self-explanatory, but I assure you, getting here has caused serious struggles for me and many others many times before, including this time. We need to get to 24 cyan on this level, which is exactly how much cyan is behind the doors, meaning with our 4 that we start with, we can only lose that many and still succeed. Notably, 6 of the 24 keys are behind a negative 4 cyan, meaning we'll have to grab those as, assuming we could pick up all the other keys, we can only get up to 22. The only way to get to negative 4 is from the bottom 2 bicolored doors that'll spin our cyan from purple, so we can open the other 2 bicolored doors to get to negative 8 purple, then can open the negative 4 purple doors, pick up our 4 purples from there, and it's then just a pretty straight shot to the exit. So we're gonna need to get we'll need to get down to 0 off an exact key and some combination of negative normal keys. We can notice that all the negative keys are powers of 2, with 1 being just 2 to the 0 for the record, so we can just numerically get to 0 from every positive exact key, which if you've taken a computer science course you know this is true, but you just have to take my word for it. The 77 requires the 64, 8, 4, and 1, which cannot be done since we'd have to take one of those keys before we can actually take the unstar and the 77. The 92 is a very similar situation, however 71 is the first that does not take a key from every line to clear. And sure enough, checking that one, it's fully possible to make the 64, 4, 2, and 1 accessible after the aforementioned requirements, so we can do exactly that and take our leave. So we gotta get down to 0 of everything besides masters. The only way to get rid of our cyan is via the 3 locks, meaning we'll have to cross over to the right and must get up to 4 masters. Thus, we'll have to open up the top 3 doors so we can actually cross. We know we'll have to open the bicolored blue oranges, so we'll also have to spend all the negative blue before taking those and can lock in the 4 lock blue as a master. And by the way, since we can't get to a negative amount of cyan, the 2 lock is the other one. Next, we'll have to get to the negative 5 lock blue after taking the 5 blue, which means we'll have to get our orange down to negative 4 before that point, so we must open the negative 3 blue now, and the negative blast since we have to get rid of all of our blue. Then, once at 0, you can take the blue, clear all the auras, get your master, and from here it's fairly straightforward. The last bicolored door works to get you down to negative 5, so that'll let you open that last door, and bim bam bosh, you are done. This one's fairly simple, basically just maximizing your keys for every blast door, and the main thing to identify is that the non-bicolored blast doors should be opened well as small as possible, and after getting a higher amount of the other count. So if you're just a little bit over some doors, I'd recommend opening, for example, if you had 12 purple, opening the 2 and 8, then the blast door. From there, it can unfold in just tons of different ways. I looked it up on the wiki just out of curiosity, and there is in fact no one correct logical solution unless you count the highest of high scores, but it genuinely is just shooting for a high score. So make your own magic here. It should be done pretty easily. As before with gold, if a bicolor door has any pure on it, it's completely immune to the curse and masters. Another small mechanic, cursing a bicolor door effectively just makes it a standard brown door. As for the actual level though, we need to get down to -3 brown, as well as have some positive red to clear the frost at the blank brown. And to actually get negative, we'd have to open one of the top left roots, which notably we can only go through one of them. Because we have to take the -2 red to get there, we use the 1 red on the bottom right to actually clear the frost below. So we then need to open the 5 door with brown, since we can't get to 5 orange. If we wanted to go bottom root, we need to get down to 0 brown, as well as mandates opening the 1 lock brown up top, so we can actually fully clear out our negative brown afterwards. That, however, would mean setting us to 11 brown, which cannot be fully spent. So bottom path cannot work. Top path, however, would need to be opened on either 3 or 4 brown, since those would set us to -4 or -3 respectively. The 5 immediately brings us to 12, which 8 can easily and obviously be spent via the 8 lock, while 9 can be spent. You'd need to clear the ice off the -1, which, since you must open the full lock orange with your orange, means you'll have to grab the exact full later, and thus need to open the 2 lock red with red. So the TLDL on that means you need to grab brown before you can open the 2 lock, so going down to the -4 simply will not work. From here though, with that all explained, it's pretty straightforward. Just make sure you open the 2 lock red before you grab the brown, and you should be easily able to leave. Only thing you actually need to do in this level is get to 5 green keys. Besides that, you can master key everything. We need at least one of the -4 bicolored doors to get to 5 green, so we can't just make a straight shot for the -4 purple. So we can immediately assume we'll need the 1 purple to actually do anything. Obviously, the only thing we can do with that is get -green, which we can use to get to full purple from some bicolored doors above and below. Since that forces going to -2 green, we've now made it so we only have 5 green we could gain, thus we'll need to get down to 0 green, which can be done by opening the remaining bicolored 2 lock on the bottom, then opening the -4 green. It's arguably a straight shot since before that, but it's only is now, so you can pretty easily get out of here. The only thing here that we can be certain of at a glance is that we'll need to grab the red to clear the ice and leave. We can't use the brown to open the white door because to get to the red we'll have to spend 4 brown in some sense or another, meaning we'll never be able to open the door while we have 12 brown. So we'll have to get the 12 white somehow. The top 6 white needs you to effectively spend 12 brown, leaving only 1 else. The bottom root, on the other hand, requires getting to 0 pink, which would mean spending no pink while accessing the remaining 2 on the right, which would force another brown that we wouldn't have available. So while one of the 6 white will be taken, we do know that the various 2 whites are all forced. Because of that, we also know the 2 lock red is forced, and thus that means we cannot grab the top 6 white, locking in what ones we'll actually have to get, nothing else. To get down to 0 cyan and progress, we'd have to get down to 0 orange, but that requires getting past the blank cyan, so you can already tell there's going to be some brown shenanigans going on. Counting everything that we know is forced, we'll be spending 11 of the 13 brown. We know we need to get down to 0 anyways from the bottom right, and the only way to do that would be from one of the cyans. Because of that, we can't actually get down to 0 cyan, so that blank cyan must be toned brown to actually be opened. From there, it's just opening everything up, getting the necessary keys, grab your red, which also gives you the negative brown to uncurse the white dough, and leaving. And the last puzzle of the world is literally just a math problem, which is why it is a bonus level. I think the solve is taught by high school, but even if it isn't, there's a big hint on what you need to do in the title of this level. Either way though, let's solve it. So it is a system of equations, basically 3 equations using the same variable that add up to various counts based on a multiplier to the variables. I had to dig through some papers, including my Barbuda map, to find it, but I did have this written down on a clipboard, but I'll do it again for the audience. So going top down, you can say the first line is O plus 2p plus 3c is equal to 17. The second is 3o plus p plus 2c is equal to 2, and the third is 2o plus 3p plus c is equal to 17. Your main goal should be to cancel out one of the variables, for example, c, by applying a multiple to one of the other equations. So, when the two are added together, it removes that variable. So, let's do that with the first and second, and then the second and third. I know I said in the video that I'd be trying to cut out c, but in retrospect, it is actually significantly easier to cut out p on this first one. So you can see we're multiplying these two, or we're adding these two together rather, and then multiplying the bottom by -2, so that way we'll be able to cancel out the p variable when they are actually added together. That results in -2p minus 4c is equal to -4, and then adding that and the top equation, the unmultiplied one, together results in -5o, no p, which is the goal, and -c is equal to 13. And now with this one, we basically do the same thing, but instead of multiplying by -2, we multiply it by -3, which results in -9o minus 3p minus 6c is equal to -6. And then once again, adding that and the unmultiplied one together results in -7o, no p, and minus 5c is equal to 11. So just to put it all on one screen now, -7o minus 5c is equal to 11, and -5o minus c is equal to 13. After that, we now have another system of equations, but only with o and p, so we can again cancel out and find a proper value for one of those. So, solving for this one, we now need to multiply it by -5, so that will set the c here to 5c, just positive, canceling it out. That results in 25o plus 5c is equal to -65, 5, not 4. And then again adding them together, that means 18o cancels out the c, like I said, and is equal to -54. And of course, here you can now just divide both sides by 18, meaning o is equal to -3. Although do note that these numbers are the opposite sign of what we actually need to pick up. Since we want to be subtracting 3 for every time o shows up, o should be +3. Then we can replace o in the original equations with -3 and remove it from the formulas by grouping like terms. Finally, we're left with another system of equations where we can repeat the process again but on a smaller scale. So now let's try these two, multiply the bottom one by -2, cancel the c once again. That results in -6p minus 2c is equal to -46. Adding them together results in -5p is equal to -35, which then divide by 5, p is equal to 7. And thus, very simply just substituting in 7 for p on that top equation, because it's the simplest here, substituting, we can then group like terms, so 2c is equal to, subtract 7 from both sides, 4, and then divide by 4, c is equal to 2. So we can finally solve the level. So you take 2 cyan, 3 orange, 7 purple, then flip the cyan and purple, and finish the Mooncloud Lake. Alright, that is the first world from the backside done, which is really just a taste of how weird it's going to get. Bicolor doors are really only hard that first go around here. This world really is just one of those ones that I really hope that you played yourself, so you get to just experience that for the first time and discover it yourself. It really is one of those special moments in this game that once you know about it, it just doesn't hit as hard once you experience yourself, either because you watched this or you've just played through it before. As a mechanic, they're really not that complicated once you understand them. They're just as simple as you need the inner and it spins the outer. Although I think it also serves as a way to make the player realize negative doors are effectively adding keys as well, which you could have assumed before now, but now it just very obviously comes into play. They are obviously a favorite mechanic of mine, and they're just so important to get used to for the future, because, trust me, they're not leaving. Only other new mechanic is star and unstar keys, which are so much more simple and feel honestly a lot more like a hub world type mechanic, which is not a knock against them. I just don't have much to say about them. They're pretty straightforward, solid mechanic. But I guess that's really about it. We had our first straight up math puzzle here, though, which I guess that's neat. And thankfully it's a bonus, so you don't actually have to do it if you don't know this stuff. But yeah, it was a beautiful world aesthetically, and definitely one of my favorites, but I don't think I have anything else to say, so I will see you next time.